And we're back. If you've been listening to the podcast so far, I apologize for not uploading new episodes for weeks. Thanks for coming back to listen. And yeah, let's skip the explanations. Today, you're going to hear from Mama J's protege. If you know, you know. Director of Charge and Bail, writer of Nneka, The Pretty Serpent, and Ghost and a Tout Too. Her name is, drumroll, Uyoyou Adia. After directing her first feature film in 2020, she's directed 7 other feature films as of June 2022. So, no, she's not just getting started. In this episode, we talk about women in film, the one quality every great producer must have, and her experiences in the film industry so far. This episode is packed with lots of lessons for young filmmakers, so be sure to listen to the end.
I mean, you growing up, where you are from, what was that like? Because I'm really curious about what it was in your childhood that brought you to the whole filmmaking space eventually.
Um, I don't know. I don't know that I can say that something from my childhood brought me to Nollywood, but the thing I can remember vividly is I was and still am a die-hard Nollywood fan. Right. So I was really big on Nollywood films growing up. I think of everybody in my family, I made everybody watch Nollywood. Especially my mom. Yeah. I was a big fan from Violated to Onome, Could This Be Love? All those old Nollywood films, games women play, games men play, like,
I remember all those. What was it about that you liked?
I don't know. I think for me, I always wondered how they pieced a movie together. I always wonder how a film was shot. So I remember vividly, I can't remember the name of this film now, but I remember when I was in secondary school, because I went to a boarding school, and one of the dramatic nights that we had, the drama club, so what they used to do at the time, they used to act out films in our drama club. Right? So they act out the film from start to finish.
Well, and one of the stories or stories that they had seen on?
No, like already made films, Nigerian films.
Okay.
Yes. So one of the drama nights, I had seen this, I had paid, and then I watched the drama team act out this entire story, right? And at the time, I didn't even know it was a film that they acted. But they acted the entire story. It was intriguing. The story was nice and all of that. And by the time I got home at the end of that term, that was the first cassette that I saw in my house.
Was that coincidence?
Somebody, I don't even know. Somebody had borrowed it from a video club.
Wow.
To watch. And then I wasn't, because I'm a Nollywood person or because I was a film person, I was interested, so I put it in. And then as I was watching it, I was like, this story seems very familiar. Everything about this story seems very familiar. And the way it started, the only thing that they didn't have in the drama stuff that we did in school were the stabs. You get, because we're watching it on stage. But everything was as it was in the film. That was how they did it in the drama. The drama night that day, it was always intriguing to me. So in my mind, I always asked myself, how were they editing the films? I mean, now I know it's editing, right? But how were they joining the film together? Were they shooting scene by scene? So is it that when they shoot the first scene, they'll shoot the second scene for us? Like I always thought about these things.
I find it very interesting because, funny enough, growing up as well, I watched lots of Nigerian films. But even when I watched some of these Hallmark films, I would always wonder what was going on behind the scenes.
Yeah. You know, it was, I don't know, it was really interesting. It was really interesting for me to watch these films and appreciate the story and I really connected with their stories. Like one of my first memories of ever watching a Nigerian film ever is Onome. I can remember that story vividly. And every time I watched Onome as a child, I cried. Every time. Wow. Right? It had such a strong impact on me. At the time, I didn't even know that I was going to be in Nollywood. Even when I was in school. So, you know, when you're in secondary school, right, especially when we just resume and classes are not that serious and all of that. At night, when you're at the hostel, you and your friends are gathered around and everybody is gisting. We can be 10, like in a circle, and then everybody's like, have you watched this film? Have you watched this film? Have you watched this film? And the film that a lot of people have not watched and maybe one or two people have watched, they have to stand up. The people that have watched it they have to stand up and they have to tell us the story of the film from start to finish.
Fun times.
You know, I'm telling you, it was beautiful. And then any film that I watched and I forgot, and I was telling them and I forgot something. Anybody that have watched it will be like, no, you missed a place. Like I missed a scene, so they'll tell me what the scene is about, and then I'll be like, yeah, this is what happened. And before they went to the next scene, this is what happened. It was really yes. I'm a big, huge Hollywood fan, so yeah.
So
and in church, I was in German. Yes, I eventually registered to join the drama unit when I was in SS3. And in church also, I was in the drama club in church, yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, the acting thing, yeah. Did you start acting knowing that you wanted to learn acting before you go into directing? Or was it that you were not even looking at directing at all when you started acting?
So, when I started acting was acting on stage in school or in church was quite different it was a quite different feeling for me when I acted in front of the camera for the first time. But I remember vividly when I acted for the camera for the first time, I was like, I want to be I want to be here. I want to be in this space. But I wasn't thinking of directing at the time.
So what changed?
You know, what changed was the fact that I made up my mind that I was going to be in Hollywood. Yes. So at the time I did my first acting on screen, I think that was early 2013 or 2012. I can't remember. It was in Abeokuta. Right. I found everything about making a film interesting. And that film, Child Not Bride, it was directed by Toba Tegbe, Tomiwa Tegbe's brother, and he also wrote the script. Yeah. So I had a friend of I just met a friend, Steven, that's the writer of Sole. I just met him at the time, and we got talking, and then he was like, I was telling him that I had a lot of ideas that can be turned into stories, that I really want to tell stories and all. And he was like, okay, why don't you just write your stories by yourself? I'm like, right. Okay. And then I went online, I went to research how to write the format and everything. I remember writing my first script. My first script was written on Microsoft Word.
I think everybody because of Microsoft Word.
I'm telling you. So I literally wanted to learn the format of it, how a script should be written, the fonts to use, the number of the fonts, or the size of the fonts to use. I knew I learned all of that online. I read a lot about it. So I wrote my first script, and I sent it to him, and it was like, for a first time writer, you try to, but when you are writing to entertain.
Was that a short film script or a feature film script?
Oh no, it was a feature actually. It was a feature. So he was like, you're writing to entertain. Yeah, you have to entertain your readers. Which means that this is going to translate to a film that you have to entertain the audience. So he broke down some scenes for me. We did some scene corrections and all of that. And then he was like, I should edit the rest. So from there, I picked interest that was when I picked interest in writing.
Wow.
So when I got to Lagos.
Was it filmmaking that took you to Lagos?
Oh, it was film. It was film. When I was done with school. So
where were you before Lagos?
So I'm based in Warri, but I was schooling in Osogbo. I schooled in Osogbo.
I see.
Osun State University.
Yeah. What did you study there?
Yeah, so microbiology.
Okay, from science to film. Fantastic.
I know, right? So when I did my IT, I already told myself that I didn't want to work in 9-to-5 job. I was very certain I didn't want to work in 9-to-5 job, but I just didn't know what I wanted to do. I figured I was going to be in the entertainment space, but I didn't know what I wanted to do, right? And the time I acted for screen the first time, and my IT was like maybe 3 or 4 years apart.
Oh.
Right. So when I decided to come to Lagos, I attended Real Time International Film Festival, RTF.
Okay.
And that was the year that Tokbe Oshin screened Amaka's King.
What year was that? Was that 2017?
Yes.
Okay.
And she was, after the film, it was a question and answer session. So you can already imagine, by that time, I had already started showing interest in film, but I just did not, I haven't really decided if I wanted to be a director or not.
Okay.
I wanted to pursue the acting career, right? And then it was a question and answer session, and somebody asked her, a friend of mine actually asked her, since she did a documentary about women in film, does she take interns when she works? And she said yes, that she tries to take a new intern on every project that she works on. I was like, great, this is my opportunity. The minute she was done with her question and answer, I went up to her and I introduced myself. I told her my interest in film and all of that. And she was like, I should send her a message on IG. And then that's how we started talking. And then one morning she just sent me a message that she's having a shoot if I want to come intern and da. I'm like, great, this is the opportunity I need. So my interning with her was to see how things are done and to learn how films are being made. Not necessarily as a director, but just to be on set.
Yeah.
Right. So I did that. I interned with her. She directed the film Dear Mommy B. That film was produced by Remy Binola, Auntie Rems, like I like to call her, that year. Yes. And during that time, that was when Home Vida called for their workshop. So I applied and I was like, if I get in, it was a writing workshop. I'm like, if I get in, then this is the industry I'm going to be. This is the industry I want to work in. So when I got in, that was when I met almost all the people I know right now. Like all my guys, Amasamis, director DG, Abdul, a bunch of us, we were all there. But that Home Vida experience was more than a writing experience for me, because it covered, if I remember very well, Mr. Chris was one of our teachers. I think he came to teach producing. It was not just writing.
Yeah.
Ramsey came to talk Ramsey came to talk to us. Ramsey Noah.
Yeah, I also got in home vida. I think it was 2020. And Mr. Chris also had a class, although we didn't get a chance to talk to Mr. Ramsey Sharp, but yeah, it was like an entire package.
That's the thing, right? It was specifically a writing workshop, but I think at a point, Auntie Mildred came to talk. Yeah. So we had the whole bunch of practical being done. Mr. Ace was the one taking us on that, how to frame it for a scene. Like I think we even did a small story and all of that, right? That was when I started picking interest in directing. And before that, before I got into home vida, myself and two of my friends, Akos and Peter, we had done a short film that we shot on an iPhone 7 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
There was no director on set. It was myself and Akos that wrote the script, and Peter was the cinematographer. So Peter was more like the director on set, but we were all telling ourselves what to do and how to.
So there was no director or three of you.
Yes, there was no. Exactly, that was what it was. But Peter had more control of that because he was the one handling the phone, the phone or the camera. You know.
Was that your first shot?
Yeah. I won't say it was my first because it wasn't a me thing. I don't call it my first.
So what was the first first short film that you directed?
Lost.
Okay, which year was that?
2017, if I'm not mistaken.
So when did you meet the father? Which year was that?
The father was 2019, I think. Yeah, 2019.
Okay, and that was your first feature film.
Yes, that was my first feature.
So tell me about that. What was the journey like to that project?
So as I believe the entire industry know, or they should know, Judith Awudu, Mama J, is my mentor on everything film, right? So at the time I'd met her, she actually asked me what I want to do. No, she asked me to rate to rate the things I wanted to do according to how I prioritize them. So acting, directing, and writing, because I introduced myself as all of this to her. I think till today we have different memories of that, because in my head acting was the first thing, but I think she keeps saying writing was the first thing. I don't know.
Okay.
But it was directing, writing, and acting. At that time when I met her, I'd already started losing interest in acting. I didn't want to act anymore. I wanted to be behind the camera. So she got a gig with High Impact, and writers were submitting scripts to her that she would produce. And I remember I submitted a script to her, that's The Family, and she really liked it. But unfortunately, she did not do it for High Impact. She did it for Rock.
Okay.
And I was really happy because I was the AD on set. I was like, oh my God, like my film is being produced. I think that was also my first script being produced by a big time person. I'd already done my short. No, yeah, I think I'd already done my. Did I? I can't remember if I'd already done hashtag The Fourth Side, my short film at the time. But yeah, I was just really excited that my story was getting produced. Then towards the end of 2018, I remember I told myself, I told God, I was like, I want to direct my first feature film in 2019. And I'd submitted a script to her that she had submitted to Rock. So we're waiting to know or to see if Rock was going to approve the script. And that approval email came January of 2019.
Wow, that's how you were starting the year.
And then, yes, like literally that's how I started the year. And the approval came 2019 January, and that was the same month we shot.
Wow, that was fun.
Yes. she was like, oh, yeah, well, it's time. Approval has come. Your first feature film is here. And I'm like, what?
Oh,
Like, I could not believe it.
I can imagine.
And that was so funny because I think after I finished shooting The Father, either the next month or some weeks later, I did my second feature.
Wow. Back to back.
Yes. So yeah, it was. I didn't believe it was happening until it was on set. And then The Father was. It was a script that I was very attached to emotionally.
What's the story about?
So The Father basically is about a man that really just wanted to be a father to his children and a husband to his wife, right? But he accidentally hit his son with his car. Now, it took a while for him and his wife to have children.
Wow.
They finally had 2 kids, a girl and a boy. The girl was the first child, and then the boy came after. And then, I mean, happy family, they finally have their kids and all of that. And then he's going to work one day and he's trying to reverse, and he knows that he has hit something, only for him to come down of the car and sees that it's his child, his son, that he hit.
Oh. Why did you feel such a connection to that story?
I really don't know. I just feel like it was, I felt like I wanted to tell, I don't want to use the word something different because I don't know, but I just, I really wanted to show the vulnerability of a man and how it was, and how their pain were invalidated, you know, because there was a scene in the film where his wife was treated, because the child died, right? There was a film in the scene where the wife was talking down on him and all of that, and his friend was telling him that he should just take it easy, that, you know, she just lost her son. And he's like, I don't understand. What did I lose? I also just lost my son, right? We should, he's not sure why it's okay for the wife to mourn.
And not him.
Do you understand? So I really wanted to show the vulnerability of that. And it turns out that the child that he killed, or rather the child that he accidentally killed, was his biological child. And then his daughter was for another man.
Wow. I can see why this would be a really strong story.
Yeah, so I just really felt strongly about it, and I also wrote that script, so it was really yes, it was really close to my heart.
But I'm really curious about your pre-production process, because I mean, from what you're saying, between the time that you got your approval to when you started shooting the film, you didn't have much time.
Yes. So the good thing about getting The Father is I wrote it. So I already knew what I wanted to do with some scenes. Like I already blocked some scenes as I was writing in my head. And that was one of the things that I told Judith, because she produced the film. I explained to her, like, so if we are going to have a house, I told her the house must have a pool that I must see. Like I can easily see the pool from the window, right? Because that was a very crucial element in the story. Because if you watch the film, you find out that at the end of the film, the daughter dies drowning in the pool when the husband and wife were arguing in the house. So you have seen the daughter drowning from the window, but these two people are in their own world arguing.
Well, you already don't know the pre-production in your head now.
Yes, exactly. Like I already blocked all that. I already blocked all that in my head, and how the way I was writing it or the way I wrote it. There was a scene with Michael Edger and Judith, because Judith played the mother, the character. Judith and Kelechi, they were married in the film. They were the main characters in the film. Right? There was a scene with Michael Edger at a bar when she just lost a child. Like I described how I wanted to shoot it to her. So every location we went to for recce, and we actually went for recce. We actually went for recce. So every location she took me to for recce, it was tilting towards that one shot that I wanted to take.
Wow.
As long as I could achieve that shot, every other scene would fall in place in that location.
Amazing.
So planning was adequately done. Yeah.
How did you work with your cinematographer at that stage?
Right. So Tikam was my cinematographer. Now, Tikam, who is a lady, by the way, was the cinematographer for Tope Oshin on the set I interned with.
Okay.
So we had already had a bond. And anybody that knows Judith knows that Judith likes working with women. Anyhow she can champion women on her production, she likes to do it. And Tikam is one of her go-to cinematographer. So we were familiar with each other already.
So it made it easy.
So when it was, yes. So when it was time to shoot, she was also really happy and proud of me, because she was like, I mean, I was an intern on the first set I met her. You get? So
best feature.
Exactly, and she's my DP, right? So it made everything easy. And the way Jenny runs her production, it's so effortless. Like half the time you'll be asking yourself whether you're actually working, because almost.
I mean, it sounds awesome, but I'm curious, what do you think was your biggest asset, working on that particular film?
Everybody, because they rallied around me like I knew what I was doing. I mean, if I was there doing as if I knew what I was doing. Do you understand?
Naturally, yeah.
Everybody rallied around me. It was not a thing of she's a first-time director, hope she'll be able to pull it off. Or no, like everybody came on board as if we don't they do this thing since, so make we run and the way they do. Do you understand? Everybody rallied around me, and they gave me the confidence that I used to direct that film. And funny for a first time director, for my first feature film, I was directing kids.
Wow.
That was Familiar was in the film. It was interesting because Familiar is a very talented actor, right? No hassle. The only thing you just need to do is that when they are crying for their ice cream or their whatever, just give it to them. And you really cannot overwork them. Like one of the scenes where the little boy was hit, we were trying to make this boy cry. I think we had that in just one take, because to cry was a problem. So to cry was a problem.
Yeah.
And the minute we had the take, I was like, this is the take. We are not doing another thing, because he will not do it again.
Yeah. You have to be careful how you push children.
Yeah, you get. So and Pamilari, and for some reason Pamilari was really mature. She's a really mature actor. So she's a child, but she understands what acting is all about. I was fascinated that a child her age at that time, I mean, she's still a child now, but at that time, there are things that I didn't even direct her to do that she did because instinct. She just knows that this is what I have to do.
She sounds like an amazing child actor to work with.
She is actually. She knows exactly what to do. Like, and I've always been a huge fan of child actors right from when I was watching Hollywood. The Williams era when he was a child, Sharon's era when she was a child, the Dear Mother people. Like, I've always been a huge fan of child actors or teen actors. So when I saw that, I was worried at first that these child actors that we have, hope they will be able to pull it off. But she was perfect. She was really perfect.
Yeah, that's really nice to know. So, I mean, your other crew members, apart from your producer and your cinematographer, did you have a lot of other women working on your crew?
Yeah, well, the makeup artist was the makeup artist was a woman. Costumier was a woman. our art director, production designer, he had a female assistant. Most of the PAs were women. I think even the rock intern that came on that set was a woman.
So I mean, I'm asking because I'm wondering if you had any trouble managing your crew and maybe even cast, being a young female director at the time.
No. So here is the thing. For every project that Judith runs, that she's producing, that's her personal stuff.
Yeah.
There's something that she likes to say that I have borrowed, by the way. She likes to say, we work as a family. Right? We understand that we have our different departments, but when we are trying to move and we are trying to get things done, help each other. Except when the gaffer tells you, don't carry this particular light, don't do this particular thing, but help each other. Even me, when we are moving outside to shoot, all of us are carrying Apple box and cameras outside together. There was no difficulty. We were all helping each other. Working with Kelechi is the best thing that can happen to anybody in this industry. Kelechi, he doesn't have wahala at all. And of course, Judith was my lead actress also, so there was no wahala there. Timmy is my friend. He also acted in it. Odera was in it. Mena Soje was in it. They were all my people. The only person I really did not know was Odera. But when she came on set, we were vibing as if we have known each other since.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So it was. I didn't have any difficulty shooting that film in any way.
Okay, that's interesting.
In fact,
I'm actually going to ask, as much as it sounds funny, there must have been something, at least one thing, that was an issue. Are you saying there was whatsoever?
No, I didn't have any difficulty shooting that film.
Wow.
The highest we stayed on set, our wrap time was probably, the highest wrap time we probably did was either 10 p.m.
Wow.
I didn't have one. In fact, any difficulty I've experienced shooting any film is not my first feature. It's not any film that I've worked with Judith on. Nah.
So would you say that is because Judith is an amazing producer?
Yes, please. I give it to her. Because I give it to her. I mean, producing is not easy. But when it's effortlessly done, it's something to be grateful for.
Yeah.
There is nothing as having there's nothing as having a producer that knows what they are doing. Because when a producer does not know, you're in trouble.
So I mean, from your perspective, what is it that Judith has that makes her productions run so smoothly that you haven't seen with maybe some other producers you've worked with?
So this funny enough just occurred to me, I think last year when I was filming something. And I realized that to be a filmmaker is not just to be a filmmaker, to be a director and a producer, you need to be a caring person. You need to care. You need to be kind.
Yeah.
If you are not a caring or a kind person, a lot of things will suffer in production. Your story will suffer. Your cast will suffer. Your crew will suffer. When your cast and crew are suffering, it means that there is going to be some sort of disorganization. If you care about people, you care about their time. When you care about their time, you would understand that people are working for their time, which means that you cannot. Again, like I said, everything I have done with her, every production I've done with her, starting from The Father, we go and do our reckings. We are not going to see the location on the first day. And we have actually not had an issue where when we get on location, we cannot enter because we know do one thing do you understand? Like everything is always prepared ahead of time.
Yeah.
Because you also need to know that you're on a slim budget. You don't have time to waste.
Yeah.
Crew is eating when they're supposed to eat because you know that they should eat. When your cast come, you know that you should take care of them. Like, these are, if you are not a caring person, when you care about things that you love, you are going to be proactive.
I like
You are
that.
going to be thinking ahead for that thing. You are going to be thinking ahead. It's just like being in a relationship with your husband or your wife or your girlfriend or boyfriend. The fact that you care about these people, you know what makes them happy.
Yeah.
You know what makes them smile. So if you know that they are going to come home by 6 o'clock and they probably shower for 30 minutes, and if you are the kind of person that wants to give them food, you already know that the food is ready. It's not that when they come, that's when you start making the food or something. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I totally understand.
So in my opinion, if you're not a caring person, if you're not a kind person, I don't know how you make a good director or a good producer. I don't know.
Yeah, this actually makes a lot of sense because I don't think I've ever heard anyone talking about this particular character trait, especially for a producer and a director as well. But it makes a whole lot of sense when you say it.
Yeah, I literally, that's what I figured. That because I have that's what I figured working with a lot of people. So when she's producing for me, when she's producing and I'm directing, it is what works for the story.
Yeah.
It's not what works for me as a director.
You're serving.
It's not what works for her we are serving the story. What works for the story? Everything we want to banter about that story, we have bantered it in pre-production before we went on set. Do you understand? So
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I get that. So what did you after your first feature film, what would you say that you learned about yourself as a director?
My temperament.
Tell me about that.
Which is something I'm grateful for. Something I'm very grateful for. I used to be I don't even know the word to use. I used to get angry easily.
Okay.
And I'm happy and I'm grateful because even before I directed my first feature, working with Judith on The Family, I was the AD on that set, right? So she again, another thing I want to say is this: you mirror who your mentor is, sort of. Let's say, for example, I had a mentor that had anger issues, and I'm struggling with controlling my anger. I probably have anger issues. It's going to escalate for me because in my mind, that's how things are supposed to be done. But when you have a mentor that is chilled and cool and calm about things, they talk to people with respect. Like, they talk to people with respect. It doesn't matter who the person is. Half the time, I don't even know who the PA on set is. Because all of us are just vibing, right? So it taught me how to address situations, how to talk to people. It taught me how to direct actors. It taught me how to know that actors are vulnerable beings. They are the ones in front of the camera. I cannot stay by the monitor and be shouting, "No, don't do that. That's not what I want. I want you to." No. Everybody's watching that actor. Everybody is watching. Aside the fact that we are watching the actor from the monitor, everybody is physically seeing what they are doing. It takes a whole lot of strength and vulnerability to act in front of people.
Absolutely.
So why do I want to put down your confidence? So
I think as an actor's job was hard, but I mean, directing my first feature too, I was like, man, like my respect for them grew a lot more because I got to see.
You understand?
Like, yeah.
It's not easy. And then I also realized that was when I also realized that directing is not as easy as we think it is. Directing is not just about action and cut.
No, it's not.
You have to be articulate. You literally have to be the most articulate person in that set, on that set. You have to be the person with with more knowledge.
Yeah.
If you don't know your story as a director, you're in trouble.
Yes, so you can't even afford not
No,
to.
let me rephrase that. If you do not understand your story, you're in trouble. It's one thing for you to know. It's one thing for you to know the story and how it goes.
Yeah.
It's a different thing for you to understand the scene, the purpose of the scene, the purpose of the action you're telling the actor to do. Why?
There are so many different elements.
Why is this person just sitting down? You know, it's so many. And one thing I also learned is patience is one of the biggest virtue a director can have. Your actors are like toddlers. They will make mistakes. You cannot beat them.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You cannot beat them. You have to pet them. You have to pet them all through. So when they do something that you don't like, you cannot go up and be like, I don't like this. No. How are they supposed to feel? How are they supposed to give you the next take that you want to be better?
Yeah.
When they are asking you, director, what do you want me to do? You have to tell them exactly what you want them to do. You know, it's a whole lot of. You discover a lot of things about yourself that you will be shocked.
It's a learning experience. So I mean, Charge and Bill, is that your third feature film?
Is that my third? No. So there is The Father. There was You. There is The Ring. There is Hook Up. There was Special Friends.
That's 5.
And then there's Charge and Bill.
Yeah, directed.
Yes, Charge and Bill is my. Yeah. Oh, there is even there is the Supervisor.
Wow. Number 7.
So Charge and Bill is the newest feature film I did.
Wow. So that's like 7, right? That's number 7.
I think 6 or 7, yes.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. So I mean, between the director you were on The Father and the director that directed Charge and Bill, like, what's the biggest difference that you've seen or that you've noticed?
Approach to things.
Approach to the crew.
Yes, approach to the crew, approach to the cast. Approach.
What's different?
And which is what I was saying I was grateful for, because if I had not gone through all of this with Judith, I won't be able to deliver what I deliver in Charge and Bill. I don't know if you have noticed, you have done a short film. Have you done a short film?
Yeah, I have.
Now you have done the feature film.
Yep. Definitely.
What's the next thing on your mind to do?
Another feature film.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The minute you start, you always want to do more. Yeah, if you're passionate 10% on this your first film, you are passionate 20% on your next film. You are passionate 30% on your next film. It keeps going. It keeps getting better. How you want your story to be told. I feel like if on every set you go to, if you are not growing on every set, I feel like there's something wrong.
Absolutely.
You should be learning something about yourself. You should be learning something about the product. You should be learning something about production in general, because production will test you. Production will test your patience.
Yeah.
And as a director, you are automatically handed the responsibility to carry the crew on your shoulder. They draw energy from you.
Yeah.
The minutes, if you notice, if you have been on a lot of sets, if you enter that set and the set is one kind, like nobody is flowing, everybody's just quiet, everybody just they do their work, they go. It trickles down from either the producer down or the director down.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you understand? So for me, every set is a learning, because there are peculiar things that will happen on different sets. It's not the same thing that keeps happening every time. Like, you will be so shocked. You will do 10 films, and I promise you 10 different things will happen that will shock you.
I mean, speaking of that, of all the sets you've been on, all the films you've directed, what's the most shocking thing that you have seen or experienced?
There's one Location was a problem. Location was a big problem. So it was, we started shoot late.
Okay.
And again, Judith has caused me so much. Like, once it's 10 p.m., I want to wrap. I know Sabi they shoot into the night. Except that scene really, really requires it. You know, but sometimes I go on set, I'm like, I don't understand. Is Judith in a different Nollywood, or what's going on? Location was a problem. And then the annoying thing about that is when location is a problem, it eats into your time. Absolutely. When it eats into your time, everybody expects that the director is the one that should make everything move fast.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Uncle, auntie,
like, what magic am I?
You brought me here late. Exactly. Like, how am I supposed to? And then we start rushing to shoot. Right. I think that's and then that's one of the biggest issues I have had.
So I mean, issues like that, I mean, rushing on set and everything, do you think it affected the final outcome of the film?
Well, for me, it affected the performance for me.
Okay.
Because I mean, you know that this thing is not good. You know that you like to do one more take, but you cannot afford one more take.
I get that.
You cannot afford one more take. Yeah.
But has there ever been any time that you had trouble with maybe cast or crew taking direction from you because you're a lady?
I've not experienced that.
Okay.
I've not experienced that. I've experienced that once, but I don't know whether it's because I was a lady, or I am a lady rather. Funny enough, the person I experienced that with is also a lady.
They might have
right. So I don't know if it was because I'm a lady or not, but
how did you do?
Yeah, but generally, I mean, so another thing I've come to realize is, if your confidence is not through the roof as a director, you will lose guard. If you are saying the most stupid thing on set, you have to be confident of that stupid thing you are saying. If your confidence is not through the roof, you will lose guard, and that's just the truth. Because everybody has ideas.
Yeah.
Another thing I learned is to listen. One of the biggest job of a director is to listen on set. But approach also matters.
So I mean, do you feel like there has ever been any time where you don't feel as confident as you'd have liked to, and how did you deal with that?
Yes. So for me, I don't know how to look people in the eyes. It's a struggle. It's a struggle. I don't know how to look people in the eyes. So every time I have to go talk to an actor to say this is what I want, I calculate it in my head. I think about it thoroughly in my head. Like, it takes seconds, but I've analyzed it, how I'm going to walk, where I'm going to pass to meet the actor, what side of the actor's ear I'm going to talk to.
Wow, like, that's serious. Are you
yes.
Are you an introvert?
I don't know. I think so. Sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not. I'm that kind of human being that's I'm just that kind of human being. You understand? So I think about everything.
Okay.
So when I'm joking a lot on set, when I'm playing a lot on set, everybody just feels like Uyoyou. The kind of calculation I'm doing in my head, you don't even want to know. I remember when we were shooting Charge and Bill, and the scene in Wale Adebutu's conference room, where the father Stan, Zainab, Uncle Bimbo Manuel, Folustom, and Uncle Femi Adebayo, they were all in the conference room. When I was going on set that day, I remember asking how I was going to cope, because all the big stars were in that film. I mean, they were on set that day at the same time. You understand? You don't want to make somebody feel like they are less important than the other.
Yeah.
Like,
I think
bruh,
it
it was a
hardest part of directing, like dealing with all
bruh.
that. Mm.
No, no.
But do you think
Like, and you have to have answers for all the actors.
mm.
Do I think what?
Do you think you get better with that with time?
Yes, definitely.
Mm. Mm.
Definitely. But every time, I know that every morning I wake up and I want to go on set, there is this level of fear that I have.
Mm-hmm.
I hope I know what I'm doing. I hope I make it through today. I hope I do the right thing. I hope I achieve my sins today. And all of there are a lot of questions that I want to ask. So yeah, every morning till now, every morning.
I get that. So have you ever worked on an all women's crew before?
Yes, I have, but I wasn't the director. It was a documentary. It was produced and directed by Judith. I think I was a PC also.
Okay.
But it was a documentary on cancer, cervical cancer and breast cancer.
Oh,
and the entire crew were all women, all of us, to the last person.
But do you ever see a possibility of having a lot of all women crews in the future in Nollywood?
Yes, actually.
Do you think it's because a lot of women are entering the industry now?
Well, I don't even think a lot of women are entering the industry enough. I don't think they're entering enough. And I say this with all, again, I feel like everybody wants to be a director, right? There are so many departments that that if I think I wanted to be, I think I would have loved to be a cinematographer, funny enough. But my major problem with cinematography is I just don't understand light. I don't understand lighting to a very large extent.
You can learn.
And I don't want to stress my head. It's an intentional thing to not stress my head.
I think men shy away from those technical bits because I mean you'd hardly ever hear a woman who wants to be a gaffer or a sound person.
That's the thing. So for every department, I know a woman for every department, if I'm not mistaken. I know a female gaffer, I know a female sound person.
I started as a sound person.
See, do you understand? So like the key departments, the key HODs, I know women that can hear those things. But the thing is that they are not enough. All of them, they cannot even be in two productions at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can't.
But what would you say to women who are looking to get into the film industry? What's your advice for them?
Please come. We're waiting for you. We need you.
Just that.
Yeah, we need you. But when you are coming, you need to also realize that people are not just going to hire you because you're a woman. You need to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You need to know the work.
How would you suggest they get started?
Do research. Ask for internships. Just be open and willing to learn. Like, I think these days everybody is coming in as a big boy and big girl in I already know what I'm doing. With the guys of I already know what I'm doing. We don't know what we are doing.
Yes, so we're all
half the time we don't know what we are doing.
We're all learning.
Half the time, even as a director, when you get on set, it's your instinct that is making you block your scene. It's to the best of your understanding that is making you block your scene the way you're blocking your scene. Whatever you don't understand, ask. Nobody ever died from asking any question. The worst anybody will tell you is, I cannot answer your question, or they will not answer you.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So, like somebody, I can't remember the filmmaker that says this or that has said this. The term female filmmaker does not automatically make you somebody. You have to be a good filmmaker. It's not about being female. Know the work, know the job. There is nothing like male filmmaker. There's nothing like a male doctor. There's nothing like if you're a filmmaker, you're a filmmaker.
Yeah.
Know the job, know your onions, know what you are doing. And then because the female gender has been suppressed for a very long time, that might give you an edge. But then don't go and mess it up for the other females that are coming in. You need to know what you are doing so that more females like you can have more opportunities.
Absolutely. So to wrap up, we're going to do a rapid fire round. So what I'm going to do is I'll say one word. Don't worry, it's easy. I'll say one word.
You what now?
I'll say a word, and then you tell me the first thing that comes to your mind.
Okay, let's go. Let's try.
Okay. Iroko TV.
Ambitious.
Best movie ever.
Nollywood or Hollywood?
Just say anyone. Best movie ever.
Sound of Music.
That's one of my favorites as well. Best screenplay.
Ooh, best screenplay. New.
Okay. TV versus film.
Film.
And finally, YouTube.
Web series. I want to do my web series.
I'll be eager to watch that. Thank you so much for joining the podcast today. I had so much fun talking.
Yeah, me too. Thank you so much. Also. Yes, I did. Thank you for reaching out. I really appreciate this.
Yeah.
I'm especially grateful to Uyoyou for accepting to do this with me because she's the first female director on the podcast. I had a swell time chatting with her, and I hope you had a great time listening. Thank you, as always. I've got 2 more episodes for you this season. My next interview is with a non-Nigerian filmmaker. I'm not going to tell you who that is just yet, but you wouldn't want to miss it. Let me know what you found most interesting about this episode. Tweet at me or send a DM. My Twitter handle is @IamKorede and my Instagram handle is @Korede. That is KORAYDAY. Find Uyoyou on both Twitter and Instagram @Missy_Uyi. Before you go, please take a screenshot of this podcast, share it on social media, share it with your friends and family who are filmmakers or aspiring filmmakers. And of course, be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And please follow The African Filmmaker on Instagram. Until the next episode, toodles! And now, keep listening if eavesdropping on conversations between filmmakers is your thing.
So, let me ask you, how was shooting your first feature film?
It was crazy. It was a lot, actually. I mean, the pressure was out of this world, and I learned a lot, about myself and everything. So it was good. It was like being, for like 2 years, I've been reading about directing and filmmaking and everything, but what I learned in those couple of days that I made the actual film is more than the stuff I had read.
Yes, now, like it's always different. It's not the same
at all. So it was actually awesome. Ginger.
How was it thinking on the spot when the plan that you have had in your head is not working out?
Man, the pressure was out of it. Oh my God, like I never been under so much pressure in my life. Like, why do I have to make so many decisions all the time?
See,
at that moment, it feels like the world will end if you make a decision at that time, but
like everybody is looking at you. Time is going. Time is never our best friend. Time is never our best friend
at all.
Time is always running somewhere.
In fact,
I find it that it's a skill. That skill that I'm learning, and I'm learning over time with every set I go on. Making decisions on the spot when your short list is not working the way it's supposed to work, or when one equipment is not working the way it's supposed to work.
Yeah, it's a skill. You have to adapt because you can never even guess what might happen at any point in time. You can't even
exactly. All right, cool. Congratulations. I'm looking forward to. Is the film coming to the cinema or?
It's for TV. It's for TV.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a local station.
We're looking forward.
Yeah, but it'll be out this year, sometime in the middle of the year or so.
Great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well done.
So much. Thank you.
You're welcome.